What's good, y'all? Welcome to my review for this week's episode of Persona 5 the Anime. Gotta say, this episode, spectacular, amazing, I loved it. So let's begin. So we start off with we got Akira talking with Mishima. He said like, "Hey man, where you gonna go for Sota?" Because I feel like there's some major chunk of the game the anime just cut out because I don't remember it being this quickly. Granted, it's been a while since I've seen the game, so I could be wrong. Because just gonna wait, how are we on this trip? I don't recall it going just like this. Granted, it's top of the confidence and everything. The admin kind of just had to cut a lot of shit out because to get everything out, and there are 24 episodes. So this kind of felt a little jarring to me as a game player, but I don't know, maybe it was just me. Anyway, so the machine said like, "Hey man, where are you gonna go for social?" Because they're going out to this for this summer trip. They're going to there's these different I guess experience. I forgot the exact reason why they're going. They call it social studies. Kira's like, "Nah, I've decided." Machine says like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to the TV station. Hopefully I meet some actresses there, watch some tape recordings and all that shit." And so then we actually see Makoto is stalking a boy here because the principal has her stalking him because he has he thinks he's a member of the Phantom Thieves, or he's connected with the Phantom Thieves or something along those lines. And she's over there got a volume. She's following him while she's comfortable. She doesn't do a good job hiding. She's literally just following him while having just a magazine of Weekly Shonen Jump. I don't know exactly the exact magazine. I'm just gonna say it's Shonen Jump. Covering her face or most of it to where she can see where she's going. It's just as funny as it is in the anime as it is in the game. Although one thing I will say, the art in this episode did look a little off at points, I gotta say. Which I know a lot of people are constantly hating on this show, saying oh the art and animation for the show is terrible. Oh, it's nowhere near as good as the game. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, can you give this show a break? Yes, it's not as good as the game, but you can't expect them to get 800 hours of a game and shove it into 24 hours. That's just impossible. So, like I said in my previous reviews, what I expect from the show was to pretty much just get the main story and maybe get some bits and pieces of the confidences in there. And I got what I want. And I love this anime. I love the anime. Now, I'm not going to say it's as strong as the game. I'm not, because, there's, like I said, there's a lot of shit cut out that only could work in the game because, like you said, time constraints. They only have 24 episodes. But I feel like people need some hate on this series. I feel like a lot of people just had their expectations so high. They're like, oh my god, this is going to be amazing. It's going to send the game, and when it really can't, I don't know. So anyway, and plus everyone's like, oh, it's nowhere. The art animation is nowhere near as good as the game was. Well, yeah, I mean, the game was done by Production IG, and Atlas, I'm sure, gave 2 years. They probably gave him the budget of a movie for that. While A1 has to while A1 Pictures has a budget of a TV series, and they have to do this shit weekly. So, yeah, it makes sense why the art animation is nowhere near as good as it was in the game. Anyway, enough of my tirade there. So she's following her boy Kira with her volume of Shonen Jump. I love that. Then when they're right at the train station, when Akira's about to board, an old woman falls down and she can't get up. I'm sorry, I had to use that meme at least once. So, and then Makoto's guy has it oh, should I follow Kira or should I help out this old woman? She ends up helping the old woman, and then she's Kira manages the board, and he manages to get away. And she's like, what am I doing? She's like, what am I doing? Well, then we head over back to, we get to the field trip where they're actually at there, and they're, like I said, I swear to God, they're really come through this. But then again, I can understand why, like I said, they only have 24 hours, so they gotta get through, the side stuff to get to, the main story. So it makes sense why they're kind of fast forward a bit. We actually see them in the TV station, Kira and the others are helping out. We also see one of the other main we actually had 3 cameos from the confidants in this episode. We have the shogi player, what are those guys called? Shit, I forget. Those guys with the crystal balls? They always say you're predicting futures. I forget what are those guys called? Their names are slipping my mind right now. I don't know, and we also had, of course, the journalists in this episode. We had, all 3 of them up here. I was like, oh, shit, they're really going in with them cameos. And so, we actually see her, the shogi player. I forget her name, and honestly, her confidant wasn't all that interesting to me. I mean, hers was fine from, the non-playable characters. Hers was okay. Her confidant was pretty much that she wanted that she was a shogi player, but she was kind of, forced into it by her mom, or she was, fixing the match. I forget really exactly what it was, but, I wasn't really a particular fan. I mean, she's cool and all, but her confidant could have been a little bit better, in my personal opinion. Although I'd probably forget half of it. Anyway, she walks up and she was like, "Oh wow, she has like they're like Mishima, and we say Mishima a lot, so he's got like just messing around, getting into trouble." And I know a lot of people don't like Mishima. I personally love Mishima. He's awesome. I love Mishima. Anyway, so we got and then next thing, while On is like in the crew are kind of walking down this hallway, this random dude shows up and like, "Oh hey, you're perfect. You got a nice rockin' bar. Call me sometime, day or night." And hands her his business card. It's probably like some modeling gig, but the way the man kind of was like, "Oh my god, what are you doing, porn or something?" I swear to God, I feel like the dude does porn. Maybe it might have just been a modeling student. The man just came off weird. Anyway, so then we got into the crew at lunch, and they're kind of just chilling and eating. She hands the business card to Ryuji. He's like, "No, I want it." And then we actually see we get back to where they're in this like little set area. Like those talk shows that usually have an audience in the background. Yeah, they're there. It's a talk show. Then actually it's a Akechi. Now this is actually the first time the Akechi was like. This is like when Akechi really starts becoming pivotal to the story. I mean, yeah, in the game he did have a few other times. He only appeared I think one other time was when he had that one conversation with Sai around the beginning of the series. But of course, the anime has been shoving Akechi in like almost every episode. They have gotten a lot better with it. They haven't shoved Akechi in like the last couple of episodes, which is nice to see that they're not shoving him in there all the time just for the sake of pleasing the fangirls. But at the same time, I wasn't really pissed off that Akechi was all the way there, but I'm kind of like, does he really need to? Do you guys really need to keep giving Akechi cameos these episodes? I mean, just wait for him to become a pivotal part of the story, and then you can get all the fan service that you want out of the way. Anyway, so they're in there, and they talk about like the Phantom Thieves. It's like what they do, and like do they have the right to assert justice, like pretty much pretty much like a lot of superhero movies, like they're like, "Oh yeah, he doesn't have the right to take matters into his own hand because that's vigilantism, and the cops should do it, all the that shit with the cat, that I see that a lot of like comic movies and such." And then should they? Yeah, they shouldn't be the ones that give out like true justice or whatever. They present let the cops do it, let the actual authorities do it, not these Phantom Thieves are these vigilantes that we don't even know real off. Anyway, and then they ask the audience, and actually end up asking our boy Akira, and he says like "Oh yes, their justice is absolute." He pretty much supporting the Phantom Thieves because he's a member, he is the founding member. Akechi's like, "Oh, strong assertion," and then that's where it kind of ends there. We then just have them chilling in this hallway where we see Akira. They're talking about, "Oh yeah, why don't we go for the rest of the course? We go for lunch." They end up just thinking like, "Oh yeah, let's go to this pancake joint I found." And we got Akechi like, "Oh, hello there, hello. Thank you for participating." And also, by the way, did one of you guys say something about pancakes? No, I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm just gonna say this. That line about the pancakes, that'll come into play much later on in the series. That's all I'm gonna say there on that front. And so after that, we see, we then have like a Makoto. She kind of like reports everything to her, to like the principal be like about Kira and everything, and then she has this meeting with the student council where they talk about this these rumors about these these students getting blackmailed in Shibuya, I think it was, from this gang, this this crime syndicate. And so after that, we get back to On and the crew, and they're wondering, like, because after the stuff with the catch, they're kind of like, I don't know, should we still continue being fan thieves, or should we kind of like just give up while we're still good? And Akira's like, and Ryuji's like, nah, man, we're staying fan. And like, well, I guess you could also say this is kind of like the story of like almost a pseudo Death Note relationship between like Akira and Akechi, where they're kind of like trying to outwit each other, make sure like Akira manages to keep the fan thieves a secret, but without Akechi and the cops trying to get notice that they are the Phantom Thieves, which I'm not gonna say it's as strong as any. If you're an anime, I'm not gonna say it's as strong as Death Note. It ain't. But I'm just saying if I had to compare it to anything, it's kind of like Death Note when L's tried to keep it a secret and not have the cops figure that he is indeed Kira. Anyway, so after that, Makoto kind of shows up and she's like, "Oh yeah, hey, hi, why are you guys talking?" Like, she's kind of like just trying to get more information out of them. And stuff like, "Oh, I'm glad you're here. Wow." And she talks about like how the student council didn't really do anything about for Shiho, and of course all the shit she went through, and and then Makoto throws it right back at her like, "Weren't you much closer? I mean, you didn't do nothing, did you?" And she's like, "Well," and I'm like, "Well played there, Makoto." And then she's like, "Yes, I didn't. I couldn't do something when I saved her. Blah. I could have done something. Blah 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 blah." And so after that, we see the sun sets, and Kira's still in his classroom, and we see that Kawakami. Oh, one other thing, while they were actually at that field trip, we actually saw Mishima get his control. He was kind of just like, just chilling like this little area, and then a cop guy, like a security guard, put his hand on his shoulder. He's like, I didn't do anything! He's like, what did you do? Like I said, guys, I really dig Mishima. I can understand why people don't like him, but I personally really dig Mishima. So back to the episode. So we see Kawakami. She has to hey, Makoto wants you, and so Makoto. And then she has a conversation with Kira. We find out that actually she pretty much is like, I guess in a way, blackmailing him and blackmailing the rest of the crew, because she actually has she shows this to the rest of the guys that she has evidence showing that, hey, y'all are the Phantom Thieves. She has that audio recorded, that conversation they had earlier on in the episode where I was like, I don't know, should we continue being the Phantom Thieves? Blah 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 blah. And then he says, okay, what do you guys want? And he says that, I want you guys to show off what your justice is, like to verify that what you do is indeed justice, or like pretty much like justice. Like that's a common theme throughout this episode. They talk a lot about like is it really right for the Phantom Thieves to do serve their version of justice, or should they just let the authorities take care of this instead of having these teenagers do the job, I guess you could say, for them. Kind of cliche in a way, because I said this in because you see this all over the time in like superhero movies, oh, they should like in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, and like even the beginning of the Nolan movies, they're talking like oh, this guy in a mask should not be doing this. They're like these vigilantes. Why are they hiding in a mask? They should just let the cops take care of it. It's kind of cliche in a way, but it's not really that big of a deal. Anyway, so they're like, okay, what do you want? And like I said, they want and what she wants them to do is to take down the boss of this crime syndicate that we were talking about earlier. So they end up so then Makoto is with Akira then, and they want to this intel she has, see if it's good, because they usually these two guys that are these two members of the gang usually come in there to I guess almost I won't say to bring the kids to their side, say like, oh, hey, you kids want a job? Yeah, we got a good job for you. And then they end up having to sell drugs and all that shit, so they end up becoming part of this crime syndicate. And so and that happens with Makoto, and they're like, oh, good, the intel's good, and they she's like, hey, you want a job? It's like, oh, is this job dangerous? Nah, babe, it's all good here. And so then we get to the characters, and then we see Akira and the rest of the guys at this karaoke parlor where they're kind of like, should we actually go through with taking down a crime syndicate? And they end up deciding they are going through with it. So then they go through Shibuya trying to gather evidence about this crime syndicate. But we actually find this is when the fortune teller, that was the word I was looking for. The fortune teller makes her cameo appearance. I think this is actually exactly how she was introduced in the game as well, if my memory serves me correct. Excuse me. And so after that, we actually see Akira and Ryuji are going along because An couldn't come along because like I said, it's Shibuya at night, so yeah, there's dangers that Yusuke couldn't come because he was out of money for train travel, and so it's just Akira and Ryuji doing this. And so then Ryuji and Akira get confronted by these two drag queens. And Akira ends up leaving Ryuji behind to take care of his business, and he leaves Ryuji behind with these two drag queens. It's hilarious. It was just as hilarious as the anime as it is in the game. And he's like, sorry, Ryuji, bye. And I'm like, Ryuji's like, Akira, help me! Because they're trying to do God knows what to the man, even though he's not consenting to this shit. So was it such a close place? No, they didn't really go that far. I think at most it was harassment. So at the end of after the next day, we see him, Ryuji's like, man, you left me all alone. You left me all alone with her. And I was like, what happened? And he's like, nothing. We will not speak of this date. Oh man, rest in peace, my man Ryuji. That man probably saw some shit he did not want to see. And so they end up figuring where they identify the palace is that it is the city of Shibuya. They use up a few, I think the words that you were using bank, and they end up transferring back to the metaverse, where they find out that where they find of course this castle, where its castle is actually the spaceship above the city, and we see him kind of chilling on his couch, and his Japanese voice kind of almost giving some Godfather-esque vibes, you interrupted me on my daughter's wedding. It kind of sounds a little bit like that. Although granted, could also be added with the audio effects. They also add to the voice to have them the shouts sound like the shadows they did in the game. So that also could have been like that, but it also kind of got me some Godfather-esque vibes. So overall, and that's where the episode ends. So overall, love this episode. The comedy was right up there. Great adaptation to the game. I feel like it was kind of rushed in a couple places, but that could just be me. Because like I said, it's been a while since I've seen the game. So overall, I give this episode a 9.5 out of 10. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me, subscribe, Twitter, I feel like links are just below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time. And now if you guys will see me, I'm now gonna go check out the E3 press conference for EA. So yeah, expect my thoughts on that later today, most likely. So yeah, see you next time.
It's